about Christians taking care of loved ones. Amen.
We do.
This is a important conversation piece for me. Some may or some may not know that my husband is taken ill, and I'm taking care of him right now. And I never thought about it until I got into this situation, that it's not an easy task to do. A lot of us will say, oh, I'll be there through thick and through thin, for better or for worse, through sickness and health. But when it's in our face and we have to deal with it, how do we really deal with it?
Right.
I have came across some interesting obstacles, some interesting situations, but also having to seek God on some direction.
Right.
You never know when you're going to have to make the decision, and is the decision the right decision?
That is key. So let me ask you a question. So when you talk about that, because I know we've been friends for quite some time, and I know you've been doing this for quite some time. And for me, people will say, well, if I were you, I would do this, I would do that. You never heard me say that. I'm just like, I roll with it. Whatever works for you, whatever you need, let me do that. Because when you're faced with that challenge, you really don't know how you're going to handle it. And let's just be clear that when our loved ones are sick, they're also cranky.
Absolutely.
They're also difficult to take care of, and they're also challenging. But my question is, how many people have said things that were negative, like, you may as well look at this as if your mate is going to die, or you may as well give up. I mean, how many times have you had, and I don't mean just people, I mean, people who say they love God and they believe God and they're supposed to be well-meaning, saved, sanctified, the Holy Ghost filled folks, the ones. How many people have come to you and said, well, Pastor Sheree, maybe you should do this instead of caring for your husband? Because I think we've had those conversations a few times, and so if I was annoyed, I can imagine how you feel, because it's your husband.
Absolutely. Dr. Matthis, you never believe how many people lose faith for you when you're going through this situation.
For you. For
me. I've had so many different phone calls. I've had so many different people tell me that they're praying. But the prayers aren't the prayers that need to be prayed.
Now that's crazy.
I've had so many people that actually have been waiting for something to happen. And they tell me that they're waiting. But can I tell you today that I'm happy I know God for myself.
Yeah.
I'm happy my husband know God for himself.
Yeah, you would need to.
And I wouldn't change any of it. I cry a lot of tears. Sometimes I laugh. Because do you remember Tyler Perry movie, Diary of a Mad Black Woman?
Yes, that's one of my favorite movies.
And do you remember when the wife takes him, push him in the...
Yes, in the tub and leave his behind there. Oh, yes.
Yes. That comes across my mind every now and again.
But if it didn't, then you would be normal. See, that's the thing.
That's good.
You're one of the best people I know of to talk about this topic, because on any given day, you have all of your children taken. But let's just be clear. Just because our children are adults doesn't mean we still don't take care of them.
Right.
Most of us as mothers, we do something for our adult children, especially our girls. Let's be clear with that.
Right.
Then you have your own business, the child care. And whenever I come over there, you got lots of kids. Meaning that you're very busy. There's kids everywhere. And then you have to take care of your husband. So you are a pastor. You are a wife. You are a mother, you are a child care provider, you are a confidant, you are all these things to all these people that we talk about all the time, about you caring for your husband. Like you say, yeah, there are times that you do cry.
Right.
Because you're frustrated.
Right.
And then again, you wouldn't be human if you didn't get frustrated. If you didn't cry, you didn't get angry. You brought up a good a good ideology when you talked about Tyler Perry when she pushed him into the tub. She just had enough.
Enough.
And sometimes that's what you have. You have enough. When we
Right.
have those conversations, and I'm like, okay, what do? I just listen.
Right.
Because sometimes, we forget that when you are friends with someone who's caring for a loved one like your husband, at any given moment, it could be a good day and turn bad. How many times have I seen your day go downhill just like that?
Man.
Then you end up having to be at the hospital. Then he ends up being admitted, which means that takes away from home. You got to be there and you divide your time. How do you feel about doing that? Where do you find time for you?
And I'm so happy you asked, because one of the things that I have noticed that I want to share with the people of God is that the one thing that God has taught me through all this is take care of Sheree.
Yes.
It's so hard taking care of someone else to manage and balance taking care of yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
When he goes into the hospital, I'm packing a bag and I'm going to the hospital with him.
Mm-hmm.
When he's at home throwing up, I'm the one that's catching it with a bucket.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, what am I doing for Sheree? So I have to implement some things, Dr. Matthis.
Yeah.
I have to implement having some quiet time, shutting everything off, shutting everything down. I have to implement getting away.
If you don't.
Just to be quiet.
Mm-hmm.
I have to implement prayer time, but sneaking away so you can actually hear God.
Yeah, because it's too much noise. You have so much going on. I know there are times that you have, just recently I know that you had to steal away a couple of days, which I, for one, was glad about it. My schedule didn't allow me to hang out with you, but it was good that you were able to do that.
Right.
Because one of the things that we talk about, and you hear this, how many times we hear this, when we care for our loved ones, anything happens to them, we're soon to follow not far behind. Either
Right.
we're really sick and someone has to take care of us, or we meet with our natural demise, meaning that we transition from life because we've spent so much time taking care of that loved one that we forget to take the time for ourselves,
Right.
which we always talk about that,
Right.
our nutrition and how we care for ourselves just overall. And all that goes by the wayside because we're focused on taking care of them. Is God pleased with that? Yeah, he's pleased with you with that.
Right.
But he also wants us to take care of us.
That's
and
right.
that would be the challenge. But then what about the times when you feel not appreciated? Because
Right.
you have those times, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because you have to understand that when your significant other, your husband, vice versa wife, is going through a sickness, they don't feel well. A lot of
Right.
people don't understand that
Right.
they don't feel well.
Right.
And they don't know a lot of times how to communicate that.
Yeah.
They don't know how to effectively say, I feel like crap.
So how does it usually come out?
A whole bunch of other ways that ain't good.
Right.
And you do
Right.
feel like everything I'm doing for you and all you can do is, and you're being selfish and all of this stuff. I have a lot of emotions that I go through. Come on, can we be real? Can we be transparent?
Hey, that's
I have a
what you're
whole
supposed
lot
to
of emotions that I go through. But at the end of the day, I have to look at Mr. Nickelberry and remember, in sickness and in health,
Yeah,
till death do us part.
You got to repeat that how many times?
About 100 times a day. But I have to remember that. And you know what? Somebody asked me, well, how do you deal with it from day to day to day to day?
Mm-hmm.
And you know what I say? Is I have his rib.
That's good.
I have his rib.
That's good.
So I'm taking care of part of me.
You are taking care of part of you.
I'm taking, and you know what? I say, Dr. Matthis, I tell everybody, I want him to live the best of his life.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
we take trips. It might not be easy trips, like how it used
Where'd
to
your
be.
dad just come back from?
From
and
home.
I wanted to get in the bag.
From Hawaii.
Yeah.
I want him to live his best life.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to show him his best life. Why? Because this is the one that God gave me.
Right.
This is the one he gave me. And I appreciate it. 23 years in February we'll be married. And people didn't think we were making 1 year.
What you say, people? What?
They didn't think we was going to make it 1 year.
So now we on year what?
We on
Coming
year
on year-
23.
Oh, okay.
And I thank God.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't easy, but we still here.
Yeah. Well, people always have their opinions, right? And especially now, with you having to deal with what Mr. Nickelberry is going through and the challenges with that. And it's interesting because people ask you all the time, how do you deal with it? How do you deal with it? You know what that tells me about them? If I'm married and I have a spouse, when it comes to sickness, I'm out. That's what that tells me.
Right.
Because everyone can't do that. But when we stand before God and before the people, before the pastor, or whoever's doing our marriage ceremony, we are supposed to literally take those vows seriously. And when it says in sickness and in health, that's exactly what it means. Exactly. Someone is bound to get sick while you are married.
Right.
And if you're not going to take care of them, then there's a problem, not just with the person that's sick, but there's an issue. God has an issue with that because that's what he requires of us. And I love how you said that, you got his rib. So you're taking care of you while you're taking care of him.
I'm taking care of him.
And no matter what it looks like at the end of the day, not the end of the matter, but at the end of the day, when you're taking care of Mr. Nickelberry, no matter how frustrated you get, how unappreciated that you feel, and listen, as your friend, I know what you do for your husband, and I know what you do for your family. But when you have to spend that time with God, being able to hear him whisper to you, well done, Sheree.
Well done.
That is worth it all.
Worth it all.
All the buckets that you have to put up under him and all the trying to make him comfortable when he's cranky. And, it's really not him, and then people will say, oh, that's the devil. No, it's just somebody that doesn't feel good and they're cranky. It's not the devil. Come on, people.
Or dealing with the different doctor's appointments. And you could be in a meeting and a nurse will call with some, where they have changed the medicine and you have to find a pen and kids running around everywhere, but you got to take the dosage down so you can make sure that you're giving him the right medicine. One thing that really, really, really woke me up one day was when I really had a breakdown because I didn't want to not give him the right dosage. I didn't want to be the reason why he missed it. That was scary for me. Yeah. It was scary. Or giving it to him at the wrong time or the wrong medicine. I never had to be a caregiver before, Dr. Matthis, so this was all new to me. And it's not just about taking care of a spouse, but if you have to take care of a parent or a child, you have to do it unto God. And that's the key right there, is doing it unto your Father. Oh my God, when I got that, things turned around for me. When I got that, I wasn't just doing it unto Vincent, but I was doing it unto my daddy. And that God has anointed me for this.
Now, that's the part right there. And I go back to say again, when people ask you that, and people, I guess they mean well, but to ask you, how do you do it? But by the grace of God, like you said, you're doing this as unto the Lord. And your Heavenly Father has given you the ability to be able to do this. Everyone can't do this, which is why some people ask the question. But you could never say never say. Had someone told you years ago before this happened to Mr. Nickelberry that you would have to do this, you probably would have had some choice words.
Oh, I would have had some words. But you know what? I count it all joy now. That's what the word says, right? Yeah. He says, count it all joy. I count it all joy. It's not easy. It's scary. I remember when he coded in Vegas back in August, and he coded and I didn't know what to think or what to expect. So many different things went through my mind. What I'm going to tell my kids, how I'm getting back to California, and I'm thinking all these different things, and I'm like, but at the end of the day, God, just save him, Lord. And you know what? I once I got a revelation that it wasn't in the doctor's hands and it wasn't in my hands, it was in Jesus' hands. I said, you know what? Let me go away. Let me steal away. And let me go talk to my daddy. And I got alone with God and I told God, I'm just not ready. And you know what? God honored my prayer. See, this is something that we got to get. We got to get that. We got to talk to God and be real with God. I had to get down and dirty. Oh, Dr. Matthis, I had to cry some tears and I had to tell the Lord I wasn't ready. Now, you wouldn't have told me 3 years ago that I wouldn't have been ready. Not that we expect or we want for our spouses something to happen to them, but I just didn't know that this would be my life.
Right.
I just didn't know. But I had to get real, and I had to say, I'm not ready. And God honored that.
Isn't that beautiful?
Ain't that a beautiful thing?
That just shows you that your Father is pleased with you and that he honored your prayers and petitions. And that's that thing where we say, well, God knows my heart, or he knows how much I can bear. And he knows that when you said that, you meant exactly what you said, that you were already thinking, how am I going to move his body? What am I going to tell the kids? What am I going to say to this person? How am I going to do this? Because our minds, that's how our minds work as women of God, you know. And so we're thinking 5, 10 steps ahead. And God said, wait, slow down, daughter.
Slow down.
Come talk to me.
Yeah. Still away.
And then you were able to
sometimes we're before God, too. We get before God. And we got to slow down. And another thing, let me share this. When you're going through something like this, get you a team that's going to pray for you. Don't share everything with everybody. But get you a team that's going to pray for you. And that's going to be in agreement with you. Because a lot of people ain't in agreement with you. They want what God, they want what they want. They don't want what God wants or what's best for you. We got to be careful how we pray for one another. You know, and I had to learn that. I had to shut down when we was in Vegas. I had to stop taking phone calls. I had to stop talking to people because you didn't know, you wasn't laying there beside him as he was going through this. You wasn't laying there besides me when different doctors, I had 5 different doctors come talking to me every day. Infection disease doctor, a cardiologist, a neurologist, the primary doctor, and other doctor. But it was 5 doctors that would have to come and talk to me all together and then sometimes separately. That was overwhelming. How did I have time to take the different calls to talk nothing? To talk about what they thought or what their prayer was. I didn't have time for that. I had time for the doctors. I had time for Vincent. And I had time for my kids. But most of all, I had time for God.
That's a priority. And how many people said to you in their own little way, why don't you just let him go? Because we talked about that.
It was several people, if I could be honest and transparent, it was several people that told me to let him go. And
how did that make you feel?
It hurt my heart. It hurt my heart. It hurt my heart.
Because you didn't expect that?
Because I didn't expect that from the elite.
Those ones.
I didn't expect it from the elite. I can tell you today that Vincent is doing much better. Matter of fact, he's a miracle. Let's call him what he is.
I would say that about my friend.
He is confusing the doctors. However, what if I would have listened to the naysayers?
The elite?
To the elite. Oof. What if I would have paid attention to what they wanted me to pay attention to? That's why it's important that we talk to God. That's why it's important that he be our source. That's why it'd be important that we tune in to the great I am, the great physician.
Because he is
all of that, the doctor of doctors. The Holy Spirit was showing me different things. It was this one little lady doctor, I can't even think of her name, praise God, but she reminded me of another pastor here in California. Oh, she was the epitome of her, and she was so stern, and she was the brain doctor, and she was a psychiatrist. That's what the 5th doctor was. So she was the brain doctor, and she just talked so sharp and talked so. But you know what? Every time she talked, she had to acknowledge the great I am. So I know it might have confused her, but it didn't confuse me.
You knew what was happening.
I knew what was going on. But let me back up. When God is in control, he will supersede everything else that was going on. Here we are in a foreign land. We in Las Vegas. He gets sick. And I don't know where to take him to. But the only hospital he ended up in is a hospital that wakes up and prays every morning over the intercom, and every night at the end of the night
does that.
prays at night. Scripture all on the wall, sayings all of the righteous all over the wall. So when I seen all of that and I heard that, I knew we was in the right place. I knew it was a setup from the Holy Ghost.
Hallelujah.
So when I tell you that if you are a believer, stand on God's word, don't waver, and stand in the gap for your loved one.
Yeah, you have to.
Intercede like never before. And you know what? Block any negativity and not listen to not one of them.
Especially the elite.
Especially the elite.
Oof.
I thank God that He's given me friends like you that just listen and just pray. If you have a loved one that's going through, again, get you a group of people that's going to stand for you, stand by you.
Yeah.
If you need a meal, they'll bring you a meal. But other than that, they going to be on the sidelines waiting with open arms with whatever the outcome is.
That's it.
Again, I tell you, Jesus is the only doctor. He has the last say so. So thank you. I also want to share with the people of God, Dr. Matthis, that through this time period, my kids had a part to play and had to experience this with me. Yeah. And I think sometimes we, as people of God, don't realize how these situations affect children. I know for my oldest daughter, she was there to take care of me. That was her role. And then my other daughter was taking care of the house. The younger kids, we tried to keep as much away from them to protect them. But even in that, you need to seek God about what to let them know and what not to let them know.
Yep.
But also let them be a part of what's going on and what decisions you are making. And I had to be very conscious of that. Everything that we have been through, I tried to discuss with them. But even the doctor, doctor, even encourages us to sit the kids down and let them know.
You should, yeah.
Especially even how serious it is. Every doctor's visit I go to, he says, have you guys sat the kids down? Do they know the extent of what's going on? So if people have a terminal illness, it's best not to be quiet. You need to talk about it. Talk about it with your children. Let them know so they can understand. So they're not hit with shock.
Yeah, because that's the hardest thing, because that shock turns into anger, because they got to go through the whole process of grieving. And I'm glad that you said that, because even in this process of you taking care of your husband, your daughter's doing their perspective, places of support. But still, every one of you all are going through some process of grieving.
Right.
He's still here, but see, that's what people miss. Just because a person hasn't transitioned out of life, we still go through a grieving process.
Exactly.
That's your husband. You knew him when you married him day one, when you guys were dating, when he was live and vibrant and doing things, and now you look at him and you see him in a different light.
Right.
And so you find yourself operating and functioning as his wife in a different light. But it's the same with the kids.
Exactly.
Everybody sees everything differently. And so there is that grieving process, which means you all need the support and resources that's going to help you to get through that process.
Exactly. So one thing that I'm happy you mentioned resources. One thing that I am happy about is that utilize the hospital as much as you can when you're going through this. See what resources they have available. I know home health from Kaiser have been extraordinary, wonderful.
That's good. Yeah.
They come and they do a lot of things that I didn't even know that they do. Do you know that I don't even have to take him to go get his blood drawn or for any of his tests? They come and do it for you. His physical therapy is done right in the house. Even an aide that come and give him his baths because we have a 2-story house and he can't make it up the stairs. Without those things, I don't know if I could have done as much as I've done just because of a lot of the work is on them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The support is great.
Yeah.
His doctors and his nurses at Kaiser have been extraordinary in getting us what we need. Even them ordering supplies, I don't even have to try to go out and figure out what he needs or what to buy. Supplies are delivered right to my front door.
Which is great, because those supplies are expensive.
They are expensive.
Especially when we talk about wound care.
Exactly.
I worked in a wound clinic for a long time. That stuff gets very expensive.
Exactly. Or even like I was talking about our trips, making sure that he has the wheelchair and has the walker and has everything that we need so he can be able to go. Because at the end of the day, we want for him to be successful in everything we do. We don't want another trip like Las Vegas.
You don't want that. Yeah.
So I appreciate that. But they even offer counseling for the kids and myself. And I appreciate that. If you know anybody that's going through this, tap into your resources inside the hospital and outside.
They are available. Yeah.
They are available. Even somebody was talking to me even this week about respite care, so that I can even get away, and somebody's there to take care of him. All this is available. Tap into it. Don't be prideful. I had to tell myself that.
But see, that's the thing. People, we feel like we want to take out. I've known so many people who are taking care of loved ones and family members and not taking on the resources that we could do it. And then they find themselves in the same positionings or needing to have someone to care for them. And especially when it's something that you don't have to pay for, but it's there for you.
Exactly.
We have to take advantage of that. We have to take advantage of that. So I'm glad that you're doing that.
I'm excited about it. I appreciate taking the time to conversate with me about this. It's dear to my heart.
It is your heart.
And I do want, if anybody need any help out there, write us, comment us, email us. Do whatever you can, but don't go through it alone. I know how that feels. I'm Pastor Sheree Baisden-Nickelberry, and I am signing out.
Dr. Anissa Matthis, God bless.
God bless.
God, we bless you. We lift your holy name. God, we bless you. We lift your holy name.